Let me start with a question that sounds simple, but gets very uncomfortable very fast. What happens when the world's most powerful country decides that another country's president is no longer acceptable? Not sanctioned, not with strongly condemned, but removed. Because on January 26, the world woke up to the news that felt surreal. The Venezuelan president Nicolás Maduro was taken to the United States to face trial. And immediately people asked, is this legal? Is this a coup? Is this a kidnapping? But here is the part most headlines skipped. This was not the first time the US did something like this. And to understand where Venezuela might be heading next, we need to remind not 10 years, not even 20, but all the way back to Panama. Yes, that little Panama. Before we go further, quick pause. If you like Geopolitics explained without screaming, propaganda or TikTok level analysis, subscribe. You're going to want the next 10 minutes. Now, Panama. In 1989, Panama was run by a man named Manuel Noriega. Officially, he was a leader. Unofficially, a strongman accused of drug trafficking, corruption, and playing both sides of global power politics. And for a long time, the United States tolerated him. Actually, let's be honest, they worked with him. Until they didn't. When Noriega stopped being useful and started being a liability, the language changed. Suddenly, it was about democracy, drugs, security. In December 1989, the US invaded Panama. Full military operation, tanks, troops, airplanes. And eventually Noriega was captured and flown to the United States to stand trial. Sounds familiar, right? Now here's where people get it wrong. Panama did not collapse into chaos forever after that. It didn't become a failed state. It didn't disappear from the map. In fact, Panama did something unexpected. Stabilized. It demilitarized. It rebuilt institutions, and eventually it took full control of the Panama Canal, one of the most strategic assets on Earth. Today, Panama is boring in the best possible way. Banks, logistics, shipping, no coups, no dictators, no headlines. And that brings us back to Venezuela. When Venezuela entered decades of economic collapse, hyperinflation, sanctions, and political repression, the story sounded different. But the structure was oddly familiar. A powerful country, a leader accused of crimes, international isolation, and then intervention. The United States says Maduro's case is about law enforcement, about indictment, about drugs and narco-terrorism. Critics say it's a violation of sovereignty, a dangerous precedent, a message to every small and medium-sized country on Earth. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Both sides are particularly right. Because geopolitics has never been about morally alone. It's about power, timing, and leverage. For Panama, the leverage was the canal. For Venezuela, it's oil. A lot of oil. So the real question isn't, was it legal? Come on, the country struggled. People didn't know what to eat. The real question is, what happens next? If Venezuela follows Panama's best case path, this could mean a transitional government, gradual integration into global markets, institutional rebuilding, and eventually economic normalization. But if it follows the worst-case path, who knows? Then we're talking about prolonged instability, internal power struggles, and countries stuck between foreign influence and domestic chaos. And here's the part that should really make you pause. Panama's story looks clean in hindsight. In real time, it was messy, violent, uncertain, controversial. Venezuela is now standing at the same fork on the road, except this time the world is more polarized. Social media is louder and global trust much thinner. History doesn't repeat itself perfectly, but it rhymes, and Panama is one of the clearest rhymes Venezuela has right now. If you stayed until this moment, respect. You're not here for hot takes, you're here for patterns. In the next video, we'll talk about who actually benefits from this kind of intervention and who usually pays the price. Subscribe if you want the longer game, not the headline version. And tell me in the comments, do you think Venezuela becomes the next Panama or something entirely new? See you soon, your Maria!